A smoke alarm doesn't start the fire, it just tells you the house is already burning. Most people find a skin tag on their neck or under their arm and think nothing of it. And they might make a mental note to ask a doctor about it someday. Or just forget it entirely. Because it's small, soft, and doesn't actually hurt, it gets filed away as one of those annoying things that just happens as you get older. But your body doesn't grow things randomly. That little flap of skin is a signal, and it's been trying to get your attention for a long time. The problem isn't the skin tag itself, but rather the insulin flooding your system year after year and doing damage so quietly that your blood sugar might look normal on a standard test. By the time those numbers actually show up as high, the fire has already been burning for close to a decade. In the next 10 minutes, you'll understand exactly what skin tags are telling you, why your doctor probably never connected these dots, and what you can actually do about it starting today. Picture yourself in the shower, running your fingers across your neck, when you feel a tiny, soft flap of skin that wasn't there a few years ago. Maybe there's one under your arm too, or near your collarbone, and your automatic assumption is that it's just friction, aging, or bad luck. That assumption is costing people years of their health. Skin tags are not random occurrences. They aren't actually a skin problem at all, but a whole body problem that shows up on your skin, and the difference between understanding that and ignoring it is massive. Here's what's actually happening inside your body when they form. When insulin stays high for too long, not just spiking after a meal, but staying elevated day after day, it sends a signal that tells your cells to keep dividing and growing. In most parts of your body, that extra growth is invisible. But wherever skin folds against skin, that overgrowth has somewhere to go. It spills out, and what you feel in the shower is the result of that process. The neck, the armpits, the groin, and the area under the breasts aren't random locations. High insulin creates the signal while friction creates the exit point, and together they build the tag. And here's the part most people never hear. Skin tags often appear 5 to 10 years before blood sugar ever climbs high enough to trigger a diabetes diagnosis. They aren't a late sign, but rather one of the earliest physical warnings your body produces, showing up on your skin long before any standard lab test would wave a red flag. Most people who have them are walking into their annual checkups and getting told everything looks fine, which means they leave with no idea that their insulin has been running dangerously high for years. The alarm is going off, but nobody explained what it meant. So now you know what the smoke alarm sounds like. What actually started the fire is a different story, and it's one worth understanding. Think about your pancreas like a person knocking on a door. In the healthy version of the story, the pancreas knocks, your cells answer, and insulin does its job so your blood sugar comes down. But when your cells start ignoring that knock because of years of too much sugar and too little movement, the pancreas doesn't just give up. It knocks louder and sends out more insulin more often, just to get the same result it used to get easily. This is insulin resistance, and for a long time, the strategy actually works. The pancreas works so hard to keep up that your blood sugar stays in a normal range, which means every standard medical test comes back looking clean. Your doctor looks at those numbers and tells you that you're perfectly fine, and you believe it, because there is no reason not to. The problem is that having normal blood sugar and having a body that's actually running well are not the same thing, and that is a gap almost nobody talks about. The standard blood tests your doctor runs only measure your blood sugar, not your insulin, so they catch the problem way too late, usually after the pancreas has been overworked for years and finally starts losing the battle. By the time your blood sugar climbs high enough for a doctor to flag it, the damage has been building quietly for a decade. You can have a serious problem with insulin, while every single number on your lab report looks perfectly fine. What is actually happening during that silent window is the part that should really concern you. High insulin drives inflammation through your entire body, and fat starts building up around your organs instead of just under your skin. It wraps around your liver and your heart, while your arteries begin to stiffen. Even your brain stops responding to insulin the way it should, which researchers now connect to memory problems and mental fog. You might notice your energy crashes hard after meals, so you hit a wall at 2 or 3 in the afternoon and reach for caffeine just to function. Skin tags aren't the only alarm going off during this process either. Another sign that shows up in these same conditions is a dark, velvety patch of skin on the back of the neck or in the armpits. It's driven by that same growth signal that causes the skin tags. If you have both of these signs at once, your body is sending you the same emergency message through 2 different channels. Then you have to deal with the constant hunger. Eating a full meal and feeling genuinely satisfied used to be a simple matter of biology, but when insulin is always high, that signal breaks down. You finish lunch and your body is already asking for more within an hour. And that isn't because you lack willpower or discipline. It is happening because the internal system is misfiring. Millions of people are sitting in this window right now while they pass their checkups and feel mostly okay. They might deal with some fatigue or a belly that won't budge no matter what they try, but they don't realize the fire is spreading. The only alarm they have ever been given is a tiny flap of skin they have been ignoring for years. The good news is that this stage is completely reversible, though most people never get told that part of the story. This is where most health advice gets the story wrong, because everyone focuses on lowering blood sugar. They tell you to cut carbs and watch your numbers. But blood sugar is just the last thing that breaks, not the first. The actual problem is insulin resistance. Insulin that's been running too high for years while your cells stop listening to it. And fixing that requires a different approach entirely. The fastest change you can make is cutting out liquid sugar entirely. Not reducing it, but getting rid of it for good. Juice, soda, and sweetened coffee drinks hit your bloodstream in minutes because there's nothing in them to slow them down the way solid food does. Your body reads that sudden rush of sugar as an emergency and releases a huge wave of insulin to deal with it. Do that 3 times a day for years, and your cells start tuning out the signal. Cutting liquid sugar is the single change that brings insulin levels down the fastest. The next thing you should do is ask your doctor for a fasting insulin test specifically. Most standard checkups don't include it, which is a big problem, because it's the only test that shows where you are before your blood sugar even starts to climb. You want to see a number below 5, but most labs won't raise a concern until you hit 25 or higher. That gap between 5 and 25 is where millions of people are living right now, while their results tell them everything is fine. If your doctor pushes back, be clear that you want your actual insulin levels checked, not just your blood sugar. Food timing is another tool that's much simpler than it sounds. Your body can only bring insulin down when it isn't actively producing it, and it can't stop producing it while you're constantly eating. Compressing your meals into a smaller window, like eating your first meal at noon or stopping all food after 7 in the evening, gives your insulin levels hours to finally drop. This isn't about eating less food overall, but about giving your body the time it needs to reset. Even an 8-hour eating window makes a real difference in how your cells respond to insulin within just a few weeks. Then there is the easiest habit of all, which is just walking for 10 minutes after you eat. When your muscles are moving, they pull sugar out of your bloodstream on their own, without waiting for insulin to do it. The spike in blood sugar that normally follows a meal drops significantly with even a short walk, which means your body doesn't have to release nearly as much insulin in the first place. You don't need a gym or any special gear to do this. You just need to stay off the couch for 10 minutes after dinner. When these changes build on each other and your insulin actually comes down, you will see physical proof that it is working. New skin tags will stop forming, and for people who make real progress, the existing ones sometimes shrink or even detach on their own. That is, your body finally pulling the alarm off the wall because the fire is out. It isn't just a cosmetic change, but a biological confirmation that something fundamental has shifted in your health. You wouldn't pull the battery out of a screaming smoke alarm and just go back to sleep. Don't look at a skin tag and tell yourself it is nothing before moving on with your day. It is the earliest warning your body knows how to send, and now you know exactly how to answer it. Skin tags are more than just a cosmetic annoyance, because they're actually a message from your body about what's happening on the inside, and now you finally know how to read it. When you see your doctor this week, Ask for a fasting insulin test specifically, not just a standard blood sugar check. You should probably write that down before your appointment so you don't forget the name, because if that number comes back higher than 5, you are officially in the window where taking action can still change your future. That window of opportunity won't stay open forever, so catching it now is what keeps a small warning from turning into a permanent crisis. If this helped you understand what your body is trying to say, hit the subscribe button. Every week we break down the hidden warning signs that most doctors never bother to connect, which helps you stop problems before they ever get serious.